It's Sunday morning, and every decent man and woman is listening to Test Miles with Nick Miles on FM News 101 KXL. Buckle in.
You know that means it's time to talk cars the next 60 minutes on your weekly automotive radio experience. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to America's Automotive Radio Show. Test Miles, locally created, nationally celebrated. Interesting evening last night. I went to the Coin Christmas party, and as soon as I was basically in the room, Jeff Gianola walked over to me and he said, "I really love everything you do on Coin. I love your automotive stuff. It's great." And so now I'm done. I'm ready to die. I have no more goals left in life. No. Jeff Gianola loves everything I do, so that made me happy. All right, what's on this morning's show? Well, our misfits, our rapscallions and ne'er-do-wells have put together a packed show for you. We're going to talk about the cars we've been driving, find out about Aston Martins. A lot of people don't know so much about Aston Martin. I spent a week in California with them, test driving their entire range of cars. We'll find out from Matthew Clark, who's a spokesperson for the brand, a little bit about the brand, what they're doing, and why they are so sought after. Also, have you ever detailed your car, and do you want to detail your car? You should detail your car, and we're going to give you all the inside scoop about that because it's the season where your car needs to be clean, and it'll change the value of your car. Plus, all the holiday deals that we can get from Mobile West. Peter Clover's going to be in here to talk about some of the best deals that you could be buying for your loved ones over the holiday season. So this week, I have been driving the Volvo S60, a four-door sports sedan, muscular, very efficient, turbocharged engine, well-balanced, great ride and handling. And of course, it's a Volvo, which means it has great crash safety ratings. Its fuel efficiency drops a little bit on the all-wheel drive version, but it has a fairly good, I would say, handling, but not a good leg room in the back. 2-liter turbocharged engine and also a supercharger on the 3-liter. It has an inline 6 as well. First company, I believe, that are actually doing mass productions on a turbocharger and a supercharger on the same vehicle. Between 240 and 345 in horsepower, 6-speed automatic all-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, and about 30 miles a gallon combined. You get 38 is the best fuel economy you can get. What does it go up against? BMW 3 Series, Mercedes-Benz C-Class, Audi A4, Lexus IS, Infiniti Q50, blah, 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 blah. Lots of them. Lots of trim levels as well. This is still left over from the Ford days. This is one of the cars that Volvo still have left over from the Ford days. I think it's built on the same platform as Fusion. It's definitely the same size as the vehicle. So I'm actually eagerly excited to see Volvo's new platforms when they come out with them. One of the most exciting things, the XC90, which they've done this year, is a revolutionary vehicle. In fact, they can't make enough of these vehicles, the XC90. So although the XC60 is a pretty decent vehicle, it does start at $38,890. The one I was driving was $48,000, which I think is a little bit heavy on the price side. But that's kind of cool. Also been driving the Mitsubishi Lancer four-door compact sedan. This is going away. And the secret I've heard is what's replacing the Lancer is a vehicle which will be a plug-in hybrid. So it'll be more of a Prius competitor, but with performance angles as well. Very snappy, great driving. Of course, they have the Evo version, which is going away in the Rally, up to 237 horsepower. The CVT isn't as good as the manual, I will tell you, but it does have their all-wheel drive system, which I was very impressed with. And the price, of course, you're always going to be impressed with the Mitsubishi price, $18,405. Sean, what have you been driving this week?
I've been driving something Brad drove a few weeks ago in the Honda Pilot, and third row, 8-passenger SUV, and I really enjoyed this. I mean, other than not being a minivan, it's an awesome vehicle. One thing I found out that with the Pilot that I didn't really know, which I found amazing, is that it's the highest brand loyalty in Honda's lineup. People that buy the Pilot tend to buy another Pilot when they trade this one in, or another Honda, and it's 63% of their buyers.
See, that's incredible because I think retention rate is somewhere around only 30% normally in a car company.
Our neighborhood can attest to that. We have 3 of them in our small little neighborhood.
You have the Honda Pilot neighborhood?
It is.
And this new one, I mean, the styling on it actually looks great. It's not a box. And that was my problem with the Pilot in the past, is that it looked like a milk carton. But this one actually has some curves to it. I really enjoyed the exterior. The interior is where it's all about. They have an 8-inch screen, comfortable. The car is easy to drive. to easy access for people to get into the third row as well. There's only a push button, so you push the button in the second row and the seats just flop up so people can get into the third row, which I think is cool for parents that, you know, they have their hands full. Just push the button, get their kid in the back. 3.5 liter V6 engine, 280 horsepower, 8-speed automatic, comes in front wheel and all-wheel drive. Miles per gallon's 18.26. You average 21 in the vehicle. Competitors are the Toyota Highlander, Ford Explorer, Chevy Traverse.
That was a very interesting slip of the tongue.
Yeah.
But okay.
Trim levels, you can get an LX, EX, EXL, Touring, and an Elite. There's a lot of tech in this vehicle, too, with the Honda Lane Watch. It also has a crash integrate. Wow, I can't talk today.
Crash mitigation.
Thank you.
All right.
You don't hit stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it watches out for you, so you can just drive and relax. It was easy to drive, too. I really enjoyed it.
I will tell you, I think, honestly, Honda is actually outdoing Volvo on safety. Their safety is, the Ace body structure is incredible. And there's just, I would say Honda are probably one of my top choices for vehicles. If they could bring the price down a little bit, I'd be even more comfortable.
Yeah, because starting price for this, you can get into an empty one for $29,000, but if you get the one that you really want, it's over $46,000.
Yeah.
And normally the only bad thing I can find with Hondas is their Bluetooth, and the Bluetooth worked on this car. It worked great, so they upgraded their system.
They have had a really bad time with their Bluetooth.
But I had no problems with it, so I'm sold on this car.
Brad, what have you been driving?
I've had a chance to drive. It's a little bit smaller SUV, but it's the 5-passenger crossover SUV, the Mazda CX-5. And they've pretty much done a redo on this vehicle, especially the interior, which is really clean and much nicer than I think its previous generation of car. And they've engineered all sorts of technology into the vehicle that is pretty standard on it, but it comes with two engines, the 2.0, 155 horsepower. I drove the 2.5 liter, 184 horsepower. And where this vehicle really shines, it's competitive in all the other areas, but I think it outshines most when you're driving the car.
Right.
It is really, really fun to drive. And it's got an interesting feature, which is called the IE Loop, which is a regenerative braking system,
Right.
which will then recharge a lot of your electrical components in the vehicle and give you a 5% increase.
Is it part of the Sky Active system?
Sky Active system.
Yeah.
So
incredible. So I think I have 3 people at Coin that want to buy these, and my parents. There's 4 of them. I'm looking for a bulk deal on buying CX-5s for everyone. I'm gonna go call Nancy up. Says I'll do you a deal, 5 for 1, whatever, 4 for 5, something like that.
yeah, so it competes with the CR-V, ironically, a vehicle that I'm testing this week.
Right.
So back-to-back weeks, and I'm strongly leaning to the Mazda.
All right.
I mean, I like the CR-V, but the creature comforts inside and the ease of use and all of that, plus the drivability, to make up a word,
This
much
is a
better in the Mazda.
Good reason to listen next week when you'll be giving us a review on the CR-V.
Absolutely.
And you'll have a full week in it.
So price on this ranges from $22,400 all the way up to $30,000.
Excellent. Sean, Brad, thank you very much. Still to come, we're going to talk about Aston Martin. Cool cars, British Heritage, James Bond Association, plus Ryan Hennon will be here from a detail company to tell you why you should be detailing your car. We've got some secrets about detailing and finding out exactly what you should do, why you should do it, and maybe some Christmas gifts. And also Peter Clover going to be here, hopefully from Mobile West, to talk to us about the best deals in automotive. I'm Nick Miles. You're listening to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL, keeping you connected.
It's Test Miles on FM News 101. Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Welcome back to Test Miles, FM News 101 KXL Automotive Radio Show, live from our studios in downtown Portland. For all the latest automotive news, follow us on Twitter at Test Miles.
Here's a fun fact. The first Aston Martin car was produced in 1915, but production halted because of the outbreak of the First World War.
Pesky First World War. And a rich and prestigious heritage defines Aston Martin as something truly unique within the automotive industry and the history. Founded in 1913 by Robert Bamford and Lionel Martin as Bamford and Martin Limited, the company has developed into an iconic brand synonymous with high performance and elegance. 1914 saw the birth of the name Aston Martin, following the Martin's success and the successful run at the Aston Hill Climb in Buckinghamshire, England. Now, within a year, the first Aston Martin had been built and registered with the name, and by 1920, the business had relocated to Kensington. Now, Aston Martin's global headquarters are now in Gaydon, Warwickshire. They opened in 2003, the first purpose-built facility for the company in their history. The fresh impetus that same year saw the unveiling of the AM V8 Vantage. It's a concept car, and it was shown at the Detroit Auto Show, and the models which have developed into the iconic Vantage range. Following year saw the all-new DB9 and, of course, the V12 Vanquish S enter production. Now, I recently spent a week in California at Westlake Village, just outside Los Angeles, to test drive a full range of Aston Martin cars. Joining us on the phone, Matthew Clark. He is a spokesperson for the brand. Matthew, did I break anything? All your cars in one piece?
You did bring them all back in one piece, I'm pleased to say, yeah.
I'm glad.
You told me you didn't bring your checkbook, so good job.
That's right, of course. You'd be happy to sell me a car, right? Your road production numbers have continued to increase throughout the 1930s and 40s, with 140 cars built in 1937. That was a pretty big amount of car for that time of year. But what are we talking about? How many cars get built, and how long does it take to build one of these Aston Martins today?
We're about 4,000 cars a year at the moment, which is still a very niche manufacturer, and we've only produced approaching 60,000 in 102 years. So still very niche, but that's part of what you're buying. It's a luxury product, and in terms of making them, it's over 200 man hours for each car.
That's a lot of work. And, of course, one of the things about Aston Martin is hand-built, really nicely put together. I mean, the elegant finishes on the inside, the expensive woods were pretty incredible to me. I mean, and frequently acclaimed as the most beautiful car in the world is the Aston Martin DB5. Entered production in 1963. Now, I had a toy DB5 as a kid, probably because it was the James Bond car. It had a sort of pop-up bulletproof screen at the back and machine guns in the front. You've had a long association with James Bond at Aston Martin, haven't you?
Yes, just over 50 years now, and Bond and Aston Martin, I think, probably synonymous with each other, and DB5 is probably one of the most famous cars in the world nowadays, but certainly, from our perspective, it's that association is something that puts us on the map, in certain areas of the world where they're perhaps less familiar with a small brand like ours. The Bond Association has given us that global recognition.
I think probably one of the most fun times I had was down in San Diego at the Aston Martin dealer. Matthew brought down the Aston Martin DB10 for me to test drive, and although that was a life-changing moment for me to be driving the James Bond car before it actually before the movie was released, what was really a bigger life-changing moment is every TV station in San Diego calling me to ask if they could get into the car and me saying no. that was exciting. Now, 2009 marked one of the most active years of production and development for the company in recent history, as both the V12 Vantage and the DB, so a bunch of DB cars obviously getting produced. The V12 Vantage competing at the grueling Nürburgring 24-hour race, even though Aston Martin builds V8s. The V12s really seem to be what gets a lot of people going, because not many people are building V12s in such small, light cars, are they?
No, and especially not the way we do. So, in terms of naturally aspirated V8s and V12s, there are very few left in the world now. So we're a fairly unique proposition in that respect. But we do race both V8 and V12 engine cars. GT4 is where the V8 engines compete, and Vantage GT3 is where the V12 engine car competes.
I think one of the things in driving it, and I'm a pretty Aston Martin virgin as it happens. I've not spent much time with the vehicles. I'm not familiar with the history of the car company, so this was an incredible experience. But one of the things I noticed about it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Matthew, is that when you put your foot down in these cars, it doesn't pin you back in the seat like some other sports cars. You can get up to 100 miles an hour and almost not realize. It almost feels like you're doing 50. The whole idea of the car is it has this incredible speed, but it doesn't throw you around when you drive it. Is that sort of something that is familiar with other drivers of the brand?
That would be terribly ungentlemanly, wouldn't it? There should be. Of course, we produce sports cars, so of course they have power and of course they have performance, but there should be a certain elegance about an Aston Martin. I think a lot of what attracts people to the brand is the understated nature of the brand and of the cars that we make. We're not in your face, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not who we are. And I think people buy into that, partly buy into that understated nature of Aston Martin.
I think one of the most exciting things for me, my partner was Kirk Bell from Internet Brands and Car Connection and Motor Authority. And so when we went driving the vehicle, first of all, there was a nice open piece of road. It may have been public, it may have been private. And I put my foot down, and this, got up to 100 miles an hour. And I turned to 103 actually. And I turned to Kirk and I said, "Oh, that's 103." And he goes, "Really?" And he had to lean over and look at the speedo because he wasn't sure that I was really going that fast, because it just doesn't feel like it, and the car just performs so well. So let's look at the future of Aston Martin. The team has developed things like the DP100 Vision Gran Turismo, a new virtual concept car that was really for the Gran Turismo racing game. Owners could download it in 2014, and you showed sort of that. It was available around Goodwood 2014. Some of these cars, these future cars, we could talk a little bit about DB10, but are you going to build that? Are you going to build new models? Are there new models in the future of Aston? Are we looking at V12s, V8s? Where are we going?
Well, the DP100 is conceptual, and that was just for the computer game. But there's a few hints in there as to what elements of what future Aston Martins might look like. But to answer the question, we're on the cusp now of what we call our second century plan. So you will see within that, between now and the end of the decade, we will renew every car in the sports car range as of today. We'll add a new car called the DBX, which is our crossover. And we hope to revive the Lagonda brand too, which is very popular amongst automotive fans here in the US. But that's principally the plan, and you'll start to see that next year with a car that I can't tell you much about, but I can tell you it's called the DB11. And you'll see that next year. Now,
so you're going to have a crossover. We do have an event in the Northwest called Mudfest, which is an off-roading event. Maybe I can convince you to bring it up here for that.
And Aston Martin getting muddy again. That's very ungentlemanly.
Oh, I just got shot down. Matthew Clark from Aston Martin, thanks so much for joining us on Test Miles this morning. When we come back, we're going to find out all about detailing your car, why you should do it, and how it can save and keep your car in good condition and make the value sustain. That's all coming up on Test Miles. FM News 101 KXL. I'm Nick Miles.
Favorite us, tweet us, friend us, love us, all at testmiles.com.
Live from our studios in downtown Portland. It's a Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about cars, check us out on Facebook, Test Miles ENT.
Here's another fun fact. All 4 members of the Beatles owned Mini Coopers.
That's kind of interesting because tomorrow I head off to Savannah, Georgia to go test drive the Mini Clubman, which is their wagon.
Savannah is a great city. Have you spent much time there?
Yeah, a couple of times I've visited Savannah.
Best part?
One of the interesting things about Savannah is it's really nice this time of year when it's like 30 degrees in Portland and raining.
You can get a cocktail and take it with you.
Oh, it's
not in the Mini.
Open alcohol policy? Yeah. All right, after I've done some test driving, there might be some trouble in hand. Have you ever detailed your car? If the answer is no, you may want to think again. Detailing your vehicle may save your car's life. Well, at least make it last longer. We thought we'd bring you a detailing expert into the studio to talk about why you should detail your car. Ryan Hennon is here. Ryan, what is the name of your company?
I work for Premier Detail, and I just recently started it.
Premier Detail, your company. So why detail your car? Just throw you to the lions right out there. Why should we bother?
So basically, properly cleaning your car, polishing and waxing greatly extends the life of your car's paint. Your paint protects the metal underneath. If allowed to degrade, rust and corrosion can wreak havoc on your car and potentially devastating result.
So really what we're doing is detailing our vehicles to sort of save the paint on the exterior. And does that include waxing? So you're cleaning off the dirt, it's saving the car. What about waxing?
Exactly. So we're going to clean off the dirt first.
Right.
And then we're going to level everything down with some kind of compound, make everything the same level. And we're going to put a wax on there.
To
we're
make it
going to
look
put a
nice and
sealant
shiny.
on there.
Oh, a sealant and a wax.
And then we're going to make sure that everything stays off there to where you can just spray water on there and it'll knock the salt, the bugs, the water, everything off.
Now, many people may not know this, but Brad Boyer in a former life used to detail cars.
We spent a lot of time. Of course, we would get the cars back from the media. So can you imagine getting cars back from Nick?
All right.
Dog hair. We'll give you all the ticks.
Control
about
yourself here, Brad.
But one question I wanted to ask: a lot of people think, well, detailing is just for the summertime when it's shiny out, but there's a critical importance to do it during the winter too, to protect it through the winter, right?
Exactly. During the winter time, there's all kinds of things on the roads, such as road salts and things like that can build up underneath your car in the chassis and in the wheel wells. And it's also going to break down any kind of metal. Once it stays there for long enough, it's actually just going to corrode the wheel wells and the chassis. The mud that's stocked up under there, the deposits can eat right through your paint, causing damage to the chassis. But it's easily repairable.
See, I don't want things eating through my car. That's not right. I want it nice and clean. We have Sean and I always we make a TV segment every year for all of our TV stations about detailing the car, which I know we're going to film one coming up for the winter. But in Portland, we use calcium chloride, which isn't as nasty, but it builds up on your car. But the biggest thing a lot of people don't know is when they wash their cars, they just get a bucket and a sponge and they wash them, and all that grit just basically gets ground into the car, right?
Exactly.
So you can put a device in the bucket that stops the grit getting onto the sponge, right?
Exactly. So it's a little device that you put in the bottom of the bucket, and it separates that soil to where it goes to the bottom of the bucket, and your sponges and things can't touch the bottom. So all the soil goes down to the bottom. You're not even able to touch it. And I also use a 2-water method so that you have a clean water and a gray water.
Is that what you used to do, Brad? 2-water method?
Well, once we figured out, it's trial and error. There's a few funny things. One of which is when you have your kids help you wash your car, you monitor what they do and you give them their own sponge, let them do the wheels or something, because they'll inevitably throw it on the ground and then it'll kill all the debris and rocks and everything.
But Sean's quivering because he has a Camaro and he has a Corvette, and he's worried about that being scratched. So your kids, by the way, cannot wash Sean's car.
Well, I mean, I actually got in the industry because of Brad and washed a bunch of cars, and everyone makes fun of me because when I am cleaning my vet, even if anything touches the ground, throw it away. It's done. It's dead to me, dead to the world. It's garbage. Yeah. I don't care. Everything.
Ryan, you use pressure washer though, right?
Yes, I do.
Is that the best way to do? Should we all go buy pressure washers to clean our cars?
I mean, pressure washer is about the best way you can get all the road salt off. When you go to these car washes around the area, a lot of them do not push non-recycled water. So you're going to get that road salt put back onto your car from everyone else's car.
That's a really, really important thing. So if you go to a car wash, which of course you don't recommend, but you should go through a car wash that has recycled water.
You do not. You want to completely avoid the recycled water because it's
no recycled. So you want fresh
recycled water. You want fresh water.
All right, good.
It's not very easy to find, but I know there is car washes in the area, and I have found them.
Yeah, I don't want salt being sprayed on my car.
I know a car wash in the area that doesn't do that. His.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Right. I have a couple of stories, and then I want to ask you a question about dog hair, which we'll get to. So I used to, when I was doing the morning show on another radio station, I used to connect my cell phone to the desk. So when my cell phone would ring, the hotline number would flash on the desk. I was to forward it. And so we would wait for an interview one day, and the line flashed, and we answered it live on the air. And Brad was on the other end, and he said, "Hey, it's Brad Boyer from X Company. I just want to remind you, we've just got your Subaru back, and there's dog hair all over the back seat. So please don't put your dog in the car." That's live on the air.
Was I that polite?
You called me out. No, you weren't that polite, but I'm being nice to you today. So he called me out of it. So all right, I got 5 dogs. I know Peter did an incredible job of doing our Land Rover last year. It looked beautiful when we got the interior back, but boy. one trip to the dog park, and it's hair city in the back of there. So what can we do about dog hair?
So dog hair is a pretty constant problem because it's not only hair that they're leaving behind, it's also their dander. So basically you're going to use any kind of detailer that you can find in the area, obviously, if you don't want to do it yourself. But you can buy at any store a pumice rock, and that pumice rock's going to slide the hair straight out of any single place on the mat.
How do I stop it building up again, though?
When you place that, when you take all the hair out and clean everything up, you're going to put a sealant down, and that sealant's actually going to keep any dirt from going down any lower.
Can you do that in my car?
Yes, I can.
All right. Just tired of... I mean, I love my animals very much. You know, they're my babies, but I'm tired of forests of hair everywhere. I have a Roomba in the house, but they don't make a Roomba for a Land Rover. So I'm in trouble.
Here soon.
But they do make Ryan. And he can...
I'm good enough.
He can detail it out. Holiday coming up. We're going to be talking to Peter Clover about some of his great holiday gifts next. But gift certificates for people, can you do gift certificates?
Yes, I do. Gift certificates.
What are we paying for a car detail?
So pretty much a base fee of $150 for inside and outside, and I include buffing with that. That's not paint correction, but the buffing does include a layer of wax that I put on.
All right, and then we can go as high as
$600, which is a full restoration, which includes paint correction, interior steaming, cleaning, sealants on the exterior, undercarriage, just pretty much anything that can remake your car.
I wish Brad had cleaned my press cars like that. $600.
We did clean the press cars like that.
Ryan, how do people get hold of you? Give us the name of your company again. How can they get hold of you to buy gift certificates for the holidays?
Well, you can get a hold of me through Facebook or Twitter. My handle name is Premier_Detail on Twitter, and my company name is Premier Detailing LLC.
All right, and we can get hold of you for those holiday gift certificates to detail your car. Of course, it makes your car last longer, so it's a good idea.
My cousin Eddie, it is the gift that keeps on giving.
I like it. I really do. Thanks, Ryan. Coming up next, Peter Clover is going to be in Mobile West. We're going to be talking about all those holiday gifts that you want to get on under the tree for all your loved ones. Last week, we talked about a bunch of them. Peter's got a bunch more. It's coming up next. You stay connected right here on FM News 101 KXL. You listen to Test Miles, and I'm Nick Miles.
Test Miles, like NASCAR, but with one right turn. TestMiles.com.
Live from our studios downtown Portland Sunday morning. This is America's Car Radio Show. We'd like to thank you for being part of the Car Nation. For more fun facts about cars, go to our Facebook page, Test Miles ENT.
Here's our final fun fact. The world record for the loudest audio system single subwoofer was set at 180.5 decibels.
Is that loud, Peter?
That's ridiculously loud.
Is that ear bleeding loud?
That's like breaking windows loud.
Oh, all right. Well, I don't want that in my car, by the way.
We need to put that in the new project vehicle. 3 of those.
Can you imagine? We already got in trouble last year for the cannon on the back of the car with the security for shooting the air cannon with tennis balls inside the convention center. If we had that and we broke windows, I think we'd be banned for life.
There is that, yes. Yeah, there is some restraint that needs to be made. Right? We are not 18-year-old boys. We're adults.
I don't know.
Well,
mentally, I'm definitely an 18-year-old boy. Listen to Test Miles and FM News 101 KXL. Peter Clover's here from Mobile West. Peter, of course, works not only at making some of the finest interiors of the vehicles, but he also does the Autocraft audio systems and lots of other accessories, including cameras and mirrors, light bars. Basically, if you plug it in, you can pretty much put it in your car. Peter, we talked last week a little bit about some holiday gift items that you are going to be doing on special. We have a little more time this week to get in depth. What's going on down at Mobile West? If someone's looking for a holiday gift for somebody, what's hot? What's not? What can we put under the tree?
Lots of things. And I want to thank all the Test Miles listeners, because this week we were inundated with people who had heard of us on the radio, and then when they actually Google search to find out who Mobile West is, and they were like, oh my gosh, came in and were blown away.
Do you know how happy that makes me? That makes just such a huge smile on my face when the Test Miles Army get together and come over and
absolutely
show their support for people.
And they come in and take a look at it. They're like, we've heard about you on the radio.
There you go.
I had no idea.
That's
they
exciting.
walk in the shop and they're like, wait a minute, you guys are working on everything from, you've got a 54 panel van that you're doing a full interior upgrade, sound deadening, audio, making it just spectacular, brand new cars in there, old school Vanagons and camper vans and everything in between. And they're just like,
It's exciting.
it is. It's fantastic.
I feel like I'm 12 every day when I go into your place. It's just like toy. It's like the toy store for us that have money.
But
Instead of $1.50. Not, you don't have to have much.
The funniest thing is, I had a presentation at the Oregon Executives Association, which I'm part of this week, where we actually went and had a presentation about who Mobile West is and what we do and that sort of thing, because lots of people in the group had no idea. They're like, you do stereos. Well, no, it's so much more than that. So I actually took a vehicle. We've got a 2000 Explorer that I actually got from one of the members. It was a hand-me-down. They were like, we can't even donate this thing. It's a hot mess. Last month, we upfitted it, new interior, Apple CarPlay, backup camera, LED headlights so that you can see, just completely transformed the car. Brought it to the meeting, and they wanted to buy their car back. They were like, oh my God,
Wait.
it was a throwaway to us.
Did I sign this
have
over
made
to
this
you?
thing to be amazing. That's just transforming the car that you already own.
All right.
You can make it awesome and so much less than car payments. It's ridiculous.
All right. So what's on the table this week? What have you got? What are amazing deals?
Okay. This week, amazing deals. So I was talking about Apple CarPlay and smartphone integrating radios.
Right.
This week, for Test Miles listeners only, you need to tell me that you heard this on the radio.
All right.
Okay. Alpine, the good stuff.
Right.
The ILX 007 Apple CarPlay deck. It's an $800 radio. This week only, $499. Just a below cost.
So $300 off because you listen to this radio show.
Absolutely.
I like it already. Okay.
And that's the newest, latest, greatest tech.
How many do you have, by the way?
I've got half a dozen of them.
All right. So
And
the
they'll
first
go out
six
this week,
people,
easy.
down
Yep.
there. You're
Absolutely.
lining up there Monday morning.
Absolutely. Other ideas, blind spot detection system.
Yeah, I like that.
So that when it will alert you audio and visual in case somebody's in your blind spot when you're changing lanes, anything like that. Good for new drivers, good for old drivers, good for anybody.
Good for my dad.
Regularly, they're $800 installed. This week only $499. Done and complete.
Another $300 off. How many of those have you got?
I have got 6 of those as well.
All right. So the first 6 people get those that
Yeah,
come in.
and-
$800 installed?
Installed.
All right.
Oh yeah, and it takes half a day comfortably to install this.
All right.
It's a integrated system to the vehicle. It's fantastic. So
Those are the 2 for
No.
this week? You got one more?
no, got 2 more.
Oh, all right.
We've got for the young kids in your life that want bass, right?
Not 800 and whatever.
No,
No,
not at all.
180.
No. Kenwood subwoofer and amplifier packages starting at $150.
Ooh. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Right.
So you
Or
could fit
the
those through-
subwoofer amplifier and 2 10-inch woofers, $150. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All the teenage boys in your life. Bass. They'll love it.
There you go.
Brand new. It's not cheap stuff. It's the good stuff.
So you're doing $150. This is for the cost of the unit.
Yeah. Cost of the amplifier
Install?
and subwoofer. No, not including labor.
No.
Vehicles
What install?
are very-
How much is install?
It depends on the vehicle.
Okay.
But with the subwoofer enclosure, labor and parts, you're probably about $300 done.
All right. And
fantastic.
And they're saving how much?
Like $200.
All right, $200. So we've got about
huge deal.
40 seconds for your last one.
All right, perfect. 40 seconds for the last one. Gift certificates this week only are 20% off.
20% off a gift certificate?
Gift certificate. So just, if you can't make it even into the store, call me up. I can take your credit card over the phone. I will email you paid gift certificate reflecting 20% higher value than what you paid.
Not only is it cool stuff, but it's easy to shop there. 211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and that's in Portland 97232, or call Peter at 503-257-0488. That right phone number?
That's the right phone
All
number.
right. If you're a Test Miles listener, you just got at least $2,000 worth of discounts there, and there's only 6 of each of those first 2 items. You want to do that. You're listening to Test Miles FM News 101 KXL. We'll be back next week with another packed show. Thanks to all my guests. Thanks to all you listeners. And, of course, we're around 24/7 at testmiles.com. I'm Nick Miles.
neutral and coast in with testmiles.com.